welcome back to Champion the Passion, a weekly pro wrestling podcast where we inspire you to champion your passions and celebrate the joy in what you love. I'm your host. My name is Victoria Daisy, and today we're going to be recapping everything that happened last night on NXT. It was a phenomenal show, but before we dive deeper, don't forget to leave a 5-star review if you enjoyed. Follow me at It's Victoria Daisy across all social platforms and follow Champion the Passion across the streaming platforms. But let's get right into the action because the very first match of the night was a title defense for the Women's United States Championship. Chelsea Green defending against Sol Ruca. Now, this was a great match, okay? I do have to point out something with Sol. I mean, she has the potential to go super far because she has two things. She has athleticism and charisma, and those will take you far in the WWE. And on the other hand, Chelsea Green is already there. I mean, those are her strong suits, and she is the definition of maximize your minutes. When it comes to building your character in wrestling, whether you're going to become a wrestler or even if you just want to take some pieces of her character into your own life, she is a masterclass for that. I thought both women worked really well together and put on a really great match. Obviously, Sol Ruca did not win the championship, therefore Chelsea Green won and retained her title, which is completely fine by me. I love Chelsea. I love this run she's been on, and I truly love this for her. But let's head into a backstage segment with Trick Williams and Javon Evans. So Javon was talking to Trick about how the mystery faction that we have been talking about for quite a few weeks now has been attacking everyone in the locker room or has been spectating matches, has just been there. Their presence has been felt. And Javon was basically just talking to Trick about how they should possibly consider looking out for each other. You know, just being friends, cordial, just doing due diligence as a human being, as a good human being, you know? And Trick was very quick to reply in disagreement. He told Javon that in NXT there are no friends and it's every man for themselves. So could we possibly see an alliance being formed in the near future to fight off this mystery faction? Now, what I'm really excited about is the fact that we finally learned information about this mystery faction. We got a name reveal. We've got wrestler name reveals from within the group, and we'll talk about that towards the end of the show when it happened. But let's head on into another segment in the ring. We had a segment with our double champ, our NXT Women's Champion, and our Women's North American Champion, Stephanie Vaquer. Now, this was Stephanie's first promo as a double champ since beating Julia for the NXT Women's Championship last week in New York City at Roadblock. Now, one thing I have to say is I totally understand why she gives this disclaimer, but Stephanie basically said at the very beginning, like, you know, that she was nervous, that this was her first, like, real promo in English in front of NXT. And I just have to say, a round of applause. She did so amazing. I know that she, you know, is not super confident in her English, but I thought that she did an incredible job. I thought she used her words really nicely and she got her message across really well. And again, I'm sure she was nervous, but I couldn't even tell. I thought she did a phenomenal job. So big round of applause for Stephanie. She is doing so beautifully in learning English, and I'm just so proud of her, and I love her for that. And so let's talk about what Stephanie had to say. So she came out to say that now that she has both titles, she is on top, and now she is waiting for her next opponent to come out, meet her dead in the eyes, and want a fight for that title shot. So of course, say her name and she appears, not Joe Hendry, Jordynne Grace. So Jordynne Grace comes out to basically say that she believes it's her time to get a title opportunity. But before she could continue, my queen, Jada Parker, attacks her. Not even comes out, straight up attacks her. Jada got on the mic and made a statement and let Jordynne know that the line starts behind her. Then she got in the ring face-to-face with Stephanie and said that she's not waiting for stand and deliver. She wants a title shot now. So I am very seated. I am so freaking seated for this new feud potentially starting between Stephanie Vaquer and Jada Parker. I don't know if Jordynne Grace continues to get involved or not, But you guys know, if you've been listening for pretty much any amount of time to my NXT episode specifically, that Jada and Stephanie are my top two favorite women in NXT. So this is dream match material for me. I am so excited. And later on in the show, we found out that this match will be happening next week, and I actually will talk about that very soon, but something else happens alongside that. But let's head on into the next match. We had a tag team match. So we had Hank and Tank versus Josh Briggs and Yoshiki Inamura. So this was a pretty good match with a good pace of action, I would say, but nothing out of this world. Like, it was just a traditional tag team match. No real substance or purpose to this match. I just feel like Josh Briggs and Yoshiki Inamura have been trying to climb their way to the top of the tag team division, but it just isn't working out so well for them at this current moment. But maybe it will, because they ended up winning the match. So, I don't know what their plan is as far as reaching and acquiring the NXT Tag Team Championships from Fraxium. I do not see Fraxium losing those tag teams or those tag team championships anytime soon. And if they do, they're ready to be called up. They've already been endorsed by DIY, the former WWE Tag Team Champions. So, I do think that Fraxium is ready for the main roster within the next few months. And I really hope that they do a draft next month in April, either before or after WrestleMania, to not only mix around some people between Raw and SmackDown, but to also call up quite a few people from NXT that are definitely ready. I could do a whole podcast episode just talking about people that I think are ready for the main roster, but Fraxium is one of them. And if Josh Briggs and Yoshiki Inamura are the people to take those tag titles from them, I don't know how I feel about that, because I definitely do think there are other tag teams that deserve it a little more. But speaking of other tag teams, the next match was a 6-person mixed tag match between the D'Angelo family versus the Culling. Now, I am so here for this feud, because both of these factions are just amazing. Like, it's sickening. Like, they're just so good, and I love what they're doing. I just think we've had a huge need for factions, intergender factions, male, female, which is definitely what we have with both of these factions right here between the D'Angelo family and the Culling. I also think we've had a huge need for a mixed tag feud, which is kind of what we're having right now, and we finally have it, and I love it, and I'm so here for it. So it was a fantastic match. The women started off the match, followed by the men, and I thought each and every person in this match absolutely delivered. Two standouts for me were Adriana Rizzo and Luca Crucifino. Adriana is like a little fireball, okay? And Luca whips out these crazy moves, and they're so unique. He did a lot of really cool moves that I haven't seen in a very long time, or haven't seen at all. Now, something that happened towards the end of the match was pretty interesting backstage. So Tony D'Angelo got attacked by the Mystery Faction backstage, and of course they showed that footage on the big screen in the arena to, of course, distract the D'Angelo family. And so the Culling took advantage of that and won the match. Now, I will talk again, like I said earlier, in a little bit about this mystery faction. We finally have a name for them. We finally know the members. We finally know their mission. I had said a couple weeks ago that, they've been making statements, but now we need to know who's making those statements. And so we finally have that information. And again, I'm loving the dominance in the locker room and how, chaos follows them, obviously, with attacking Tony D'Angelo. So I wonder if the Culling had any part in that. I have a feeling not, but I also want to know why they're picking certain people to attack and not others. But regardless, I digress. We will get back to that topic soon. So let's go backstage once again to talk with Ava. Ava had a little backstage segment. So Ava was with Stephanie Vaquer, as she told her that her and Jada will go one-on-one for the NXT Women's Championship, not the North American, the Women's Championship. So Jada Parker will be in contention for that title. No, she's not going to win it, most likely, but still a huge opportunity for her, and I'm so excited. But of course, it can't just be a calm little segment, can it? Fallon Henley, the former NXT Women's North American Champion, interrupted. She started whining that she wanted a rematch for the NXT Women's North American Championship next week, and originally Ava said no. But Fallon brought up a really good point and said to Stephanie, this is a direct quote from Fallon. She said, if you are really la primera, then you can do 2 title defenses next week. Obviously, she's a double champ. She's got to carry both championships with her and everything that comes along with each. So then Stephanie accepted that challenge and Ava agreed. So next week, Stephanie will be defending both of her titles in 2 different matches. So she will go against Jada Parker to defend her NXT Women's Championship. And then she will go against Fallon Henley to defend her NXT Women's North American Championship. So it's going to be really great. I'm so excited. I wonder if we'll see a title change. Probably not, because she just won the NXT Women's Championship. But I do think neither match will end clean. I think one or the other, or something is going to happen. I have a feeling something is going to happen. I don't know what, but there's no way she wins both clean. I'm not saying she can't do it. I'm just saying storyline-wise, like, I don't know. To me, it doesn't fully add up. But, like, I think Fatal Influence will probably interfere. I don't really know what's going to happen. But let's see. Speaking of Fatal Influence, we had a one-on-one match between Carmen Petrovic and JC Jane. Now, this was a pretty decent match, but nothing super interesting, to be honest. I mean, I think both women are talented, but it wasn't anything like, it wasn't like the best match on the show. Definitely not. But in the end, JC Jane did win. Now let's head to a match that I was definitely highly anticipating. This was a match that I was most excited for. We had Ricky Saints in his second ever match in WWE against Ridge Holland. Now this was a fantastic match. If you guys have been listening for a while, you know how big of a fan I am of Ricky Saints. I was a huge fan of him when he was in AEW as Ricky Starks. He was like my number 1 favorite. And then when he came over to WWE, obviously he took that number 1 spot in my heart because he is just an absolute icon. And if you're just now getting to know Ricky Starks, I highly recommend going and watching some of his work in AEW. His mic work is incredible. His in-ring work is incredible. And just everything about him is a 10 out of 10. So my expectations were really high for this match, but I definitely felt that they were exceeded because, again, Ricky Starks is just that guy. He is him. I'm sorry, Carmelo Hayes, but he is him. And Ridge Holland also kind of is him. I mean, Ridge Holland is so underrated. I don't think we talk about him enough. He is just so good. He has quite a few qualities from Chad Gable that I feel that they are similar in the sense of Ridge Holland is so good, and he's also really good at making others look good as well. Now, I don't think that Ricky needed that help at all last night, but I definitely do think that both men worked really well in the ring together, and they just created a great match. But of course, in the end, Ricky Saints did win because, again, who else was going to win? Ricky Saints, thank you very much. But now, let's get to probably what I've been most excited to talk about this entire podcast episode, and that was the Mystery Faction parking lot segment, okay? So the cameraman asked them in the parking lot, what's going on, okay? And the 4 guys they gave an incredible fire promo, okay? I was just blown away by what I was watching. I have to go watch it again because it was just that good. But they officially introduced themselves as Darkstate. One word, that's their faction name, Darkstate. I love that, okay? I don't think we've heard anything remotely near that before. I think it is so unique. I think it is so creative. And I feel like it really encapsulates who they are. A dark state. They're putting you in a dark state. They're bringing chaos. They're bringing division. They're bringing just everything. They're here to take over NXT, and Darkstate is such a perfect name for them. I love it. And each guy in that faction had a couple seconds to really show who they were and show what they were about and kind of just like put their 2 cents in of who the faction is, which I loved and I think is so needed. I got to hear a taste of, everyone's promo style, and I absolutely loved it. And like I mentioned earlier, I loved what they've been doing the past couple weeks, especially I think it's been a month or 2 since they officially started teasing and debuting and all that stuff. I love their dominance. I love how they've been making statements, but I have been saying for the last 2 weeks that it's great that they're making statements and they should continue to do that, by attacking people, but I need to know who's making the statements. I need to know why they're making the statements. And so they said, this is a direct quote from Cutler James, who's one of the members. He said that they are 4 game changers and 4 difference makers. Then we had, oh, what's his name? Crap, is his name Dion? Crap, I have to Google them right now. Not Google them. Look them up on Instagram. Cutler James. I want to know. I need to memorize all their names. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we have, oh, Dion Lennox. Okay, so let me see the 4 members of the group. Hello, what are the 4 members of the group? Sorry, guys. I'm like kind of tweaking out right now. Is this his name? Okay, there we go. So we have Cutler James, Dion Lennox, Saquon Sugars, and Josh Black. So I believe, who said this? It was Josh Black who said that they saw the state of NXT and that it wasn't good enough for them. So they are, quote, reconstructing, remodeling, and reshaping it the way that they want. Then I believe it was either Dion or Saquon that said that they are putting the whole NXT locker room on notice and that chaos will continue and that they will continue to make statements. And then they realized that they hadn't made a statement last night. So they ran into the arena to do so. And I am living for this faction, okay? I thought it was a super strong promo that they gave. And it gave me just enough information to know what they're about, but to still crave more. And I am so excited for their future. I think they have such a bright future, you know, even though their name is Darkstate. And I just am here for this. I love it so, so, so much. But let's head into the main event. We had an underground match between Trick Williams and Eddie Thorpe. Now, these types of matches are always so fun, okay? So I was intrigued to see how this was going to go. And with no ropes attached to the ring, no ring posts, it was literally just the square, the mat. That was pretty much all it was. You know, there was no restraints. They could go as crazy and psychotic as they want, and they definitely did. I thought it was a very good match. I mean, you guys know I'm not the biggest fan of Eddie Thorpe, but I do love me some Trick Willie, and I thought both men worked really well together. And then in the end, Trick Williams did win the match, and it was an electric ending. But then he got on the mic to call out Obafemi and said he better come out with his title. Not his as in Oba, but his as in Trick's title. So Obafemi came out, they went face to face, and I had chills, okay? Now, I'm very intrigued since they are keeping Trick around the title picture. If he will ever win it back, I think he's ready for main roster. That's just my opinion, but we shall see. And then, of course, say their names and they appear, Nacho Hendry, Darkstate. So Darkstate came out to do their thing, but before they could, Javon Evans came out to attack Oba and Trick, which was pretty crazy. Then everybody who was surrounding the ring for the underground match got inside the ring to try and break up the fight, but it didn't work because Oba, Javon, and Trick kind of just took care of business. Mind you, Darkstate was in the crowd this entire time just watching this all happen, and even though they didn't get to the ring, chaos still follows them, and look what happened. So, you know, overall, I thought this was an extremely strong show. My match of the night was definitely the 6-person mixed tag match between the D'Angelo family and the Culling. I personally enjoyed it so much, and I thought it was just so much fun to watch. Sometimes my match of the nights in these episodes aren't necessarily the best match of the night, but truly just the one that I enjoy the most. And I thought it was a banger match. I thought it was really great. And then, of course, my segment of the night was the Darkstate parking lot segment. You guys know, for weeks, I have been one of their biggest fans. I've been so excited about this mystery faction, and now I actually have a name to call them by instead of mystery faction. And getting to learn more about them and getting an official name reveal and getting to hear from all the members, it was all just amazing, and I loved it so much. Overall, I'd rate the show about a 9 out of 10, which is very high, but not too high for NXT. I feel like I always give NXT a very high rating just because it's always that good. Another banger show. I mean, NXT never misses. And next week should be no exception. I mean, we already have a banger card lined up for us. It's going to be so good. But thank you guys so much for watching and listening to this episode of Champion the Passion. Make sure to leave a 5-star review if you enjoyed. Follow me at It's Victoria Daisy across all social platforms and follow Champion the Passion across the streaming platforms. Don't forget to champion your passions and celebrate the joy of what you love. And I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye.